This is our Class 6A Table 4 science project. So at the start, we started with putting in the salt in the jars, and so we put a good bit of salt in one of them, and then none in the other. So we started putting that in, and then we mixed it up, which is about what we're about to do. And then we put in the food coloring. We put in 10 drops because we knew that we needed to have the same amount in each jar. So we put in 10 drops in this one, and then we'll put 10 drops in the next one. So, this is the results of what happened. As you can see, the food coloring just stayed in the middle the entire time. And it was sinking down to the bottom, so there's a lot more on the bottom, but it did not stay at the top or anything because there was no salt water involved. But also, you can also see that on the other side, it is way foggier because of the salt water, so that you can kind of see maybe if you're out in the ocean, you can see if the water is really salty that day, and it'll be more foggy, or if it's not that salty, then it'll be if you'll know it's not that much, not very salty, if it's more clear, like the fresh water is here. All right, and then we took 10 more drops, and we're about to put them in the salt water. And this, as you can see right now, all the food coloring is, when it immediately drops in, it is immediately rising and creating a circle, and it's making a thin line of food coloring at the top, as you can watch right now. And then we just had Miss Windsor come because we told her that we were done. And then she came over, and basically she restarted the experiment because we wanted to do it another time to see what would happen if we put a little bit of salt in the one that had fresh water before, but then put a lot of salt in the one that had salt water in it before. So we put a little bit in this one, and then we put a lot in the other one, and then we stirred it up. So we got it all dissolved down, and then we put in our 10 drops of food coloring in each. Well, we actually put in 2. So as you can see on this one, yes, it's more at the top, but it's still sinking down to the bottom to stay in the middle area. And which shows that ocean currents, when they're in the water, if there's salt water, they'll be in the middle column area. But then this one, we put 2 drops in, and as you can see, there's just a thin line of food coloring at the top because it is so dense in that water because of the salt water. And in the other one, it is not that dense, and that's why the food coloring is yes, more at the top because it is a little bit dense, but it's not mainly at the top, and it's still more around everywhere. So yeah, that was our 6th grade Table 4 science experiment. And overall, we think it worked pretty well, and we just learned all about the density in the ocean currents and how if there's more salt water and it's more dense, then the ocean currents are going to rise.